I'm going to share with you an exercise that helps me make very tough decisions without fear or regret. Now, you may be in a living circumstance that makes you feel trapped, but by using this exercise, you're going to see that there's actually an entirely new world available for you to experience right now. What I like to do is compare my current circumstance to an alternative choice that I could make that leaves me with a difficult decision, like which one is ultimately going to be better for the goals that I have. And so I'll use a sheet of paper and take the positives in one column and the negatives in one column of my current circumstance. Then I will do the exact same for the alternative scenario. So what are the positive aspects and then what are the negative aspects of making that particular decision? Once you do that, you're already going to probably get a lot of insight as to which decision would ultimately be best for you to make. You're going to see how many positives come with the alternative scenario versus your current circumstance and how few negative aspects there are in the alternative scenario than there are in your current circumstance. Now, of course, this is always going to be different, right? We're always constantly determining if being in our current circumstance is actually better than being in an alternative circumstance. But the only way you can really know is if you clear your mind, before you actually make the leap. Sometimes you don't get the chance to go back to your current circumstance once you make the decision. But in order to accurately make the decision from as objective a standpoint as you possibly can, the only way you can do that is to get all of the information out of your brain. So you have the positives and negatives of your current circumstance, then you have the positives and the negatives of the alternative circumstance. What I also like to do is then create a ranking system for the positives, for the negatives. So on a scale of 1 to 10, for each positive aspect, how positive is it actually on a scale of 1 to 10? You might see that while there are a few positives to remaining in your current circumstance, on a scale of 1 to 10, they're actually not like that awesome compared to what you really want. So if you then compare that to the alternative scenario, maybe there's fewer positive aspects to that scenario, taking that alternative decision, but they're so much more meaningful. They're closer to actually being 9s and 10s in terms of how positive those decisions truly are. And of course, you want to do this for the negative aspects as well. So what are the negative aspects of your current situation and how negative are they truly on a scale of 1 to 10? You might find out like, well, remaining in my current situation is actually really, really bad. And going with the alternatives, while there are, of course, negative aspects to that, the negatives rank much lower. So doing this exercise is truly going to give you an objective perspective as to the decisions that you could be making. An example of a current situation and an alternative scenario that you could compare would be remaining in a job that you've had, a 9 to 5 job for a while, or maybe you do temporary work, or maybe it's a lot of part-time work. That whole lifestyle versus going full-time with your practice, right? Now, of course, the positive aspects of having those kinds of jobs, 9 to 5s, temporary work, there's quote unquote security to that, meaning you more or less could always find a job, even if you do get fired. You could pretty quickly find another job that's going to bring you income in a secure way. Now, the other aspect of the positive side of going full-time with your practice is that you're actually pursuing something that's meaningful to you, something that you're passionate about, something that you want to go all in with, something that it is worth giving all the work and all the time and the energy that it would require in order to make it work. It's worth you going through that effort. Now, the negative aspects of having a full-time job would obviously be feeling drained a lot, not feeling as though you're living an aligned life with what you know is possible for you and what your purpose and your calling is. But the negative aspects of going full-time with your practice would possibly be like, hey, it may be that I might have to make an investment into some coaching to get some mentorship and guidance from people who have done this before. And that might cost me some money. I might have to take out some credit in order to afford that mentorship and guidance. But on the scale right? Because now we're comparing, like, on a scale of 1 to 10, how positive things are and how negative these things are. The negative aspects of remaining in your current job, like on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad does it feel to go to a job that you constantly want to quit every single day? How bad does it feel to not feel as though you're not living a life that is aligned with your true purpose and who you truly are? On a scale of 1 to 10, it's probably pretty high, right? But if we were to compare the negatives to getting mentorship and coaching in order to go full time with your practice, of course, that's going to be an investment, right? You might have to get some credit, but on a scale of 1 to 10, how big of a problem is that actually? Well, if the outcome is that I'll be able to go full time with my practice, then on a scale of 1 to 10, how bad is that truly? You know, when it is compared to the alternative of, well, if I don't make the decision and I have to remain in my current circumstance, then the negative aspects of that far outweigh the negative aspects of whatever investments I need to make to learn the skills that I need to learn in order to become the person who can go full-time with their practice. This is something that you would do for yourself. This is not me telling you. This is an exercise you would perform for yourself, honestly and objectively, going through all the positives of your current circumstance and all the negatives, objectively spilling out everything, taking 5 to 10 minutes on each side to determine, like, the full perspective of what it means to be in this situation and what it means to be in this situation. Like, when you do this, objectively speaking, the clear answer will be available for you to see. And here's the honest truth. Like, no matter what decision that you make, what it ultimately comes down to is you realizing that you will either prepay the price for success or you will be left with the bill of regret. Now, the choice is for you to make here, but there's no way for you to not ultimately pay at the end of the day. All right, so really put some thought into what I just said there, because that will help you to see that not making a decision and remaining in your current circumstance is by default actually making a decision, especially when the alternative would be to take one step forward towards beginning an entirely new life. That's what moving in the direction of taking the alternative scenario and forming that into your new current circumstance, where it starts with a single step. I hope what I'm sharing with you is resonating with you and that it makes sense. And if you want to know more about how you can go full-time with your practice, then click this training right here. I go over in depth, step by step, exactly what you need to do from A to Z to get from where you currently are with your practice to shape it into something that's going to support you financially and allow you to make that meaningful impact that you've always wanted to make, so that you don't have to remain in a current living situation, whether it's with a job or with any other aspect of your current circumstance that you don't want to have to continue dealing with. Going all in with your practice is the key that's going to enable you to actually live the life that you want to live versus trying to find peace in what life has just been giving you. You can decide what it is that you want, but you have to make that decision for yourself. And if you want to know more about how you can use your practice to get to the point where you can live the life that you want to live, then click this training right here.